La la la. La la la. Are we going? All right. Hey, good morning. Welcome to yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. Anyways, yeah, hey, okay, let me switch this over back to Java. Yeah, oh, there it is. Oh, yes. So, welcome. This is to the current incarnation of my base. Um, Let me unpin this because it started now. Anyways, yeah, here we go. It'll do it by itself. Yeah, I moved my stuff again and again and again. I keep moving it, trying to find the right spot. This one, I'm not so sure if I like this because although it's nifty like that, I have a hard time getting to the contents of this one. I have to like go to the side or whatever. So I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like this design. With the, like, I might have to take those off. But then, how do I designate that these are indeed chests meant for that kind of stuff? Do I just turn these two sideways? Oh, that's a possibility. I take these two out, put them here, put two more, and then turn these sideways. Hey, that's pretty smart. And so, yeah, then these guys, I would have to move them again, but that's okay. Yes, and then here's this outdated map. Yeah, here. Welcome, by the way. Thank you for joining my show. Oh yeah, I need music, right? Da da da. So it's not so like, so just me. Well, while nice sometimes, it's a little bit heavy, right? All right, there we go. All right. So here's the map. Pardon the extra heads there. It's outdated, but basically I live on a peninsula, and this is all hills, so it's like a natural barrier. That's all hills, natural barrier, natural barrier, and this is like the flatland, the peninsula. So I've taken over and then over there is the gate, the nether gate, and then over here is where I built my, like literally right on top of that dot is where I built my mob farm. And then this jail has been transformed into living quarters and a breeding facility, and also as a fort because I get attacked by pillagers who try to raid and kill my villagers. So yeah, not cool. And then right over here, which is not yet completed, is an iron farm. So let us go see the work I have done. And by the way, check out the shaders, right? These don't just come out of the box this way. I had to work pretty hard to figure out things. And part of figuring it out is understanding and accepting your limitations. Like while it might be really cool and awesome and possible to extend the settings and the view to even further, it's not advisable because you can't do it while running OBS and streaming. So there's got to be limitations. This here, while it looks simple and it looks like a bus stop, like a shelter, it's like a basic shelter, it's actually a sophisticated Enderman defense system. Under here, I'm protected from Enderman, and so if I'm just out working and an Enderman comes by, which happens a lot, I can run under here and have protection. Okay. Yeah, I've slightly modified this. The zombies that were here are now cured villagers, and they're librarians chilling and loving on each other, and which is cool, right? And then the babies, they go running over there to go to the beds, but they can't reach the beds because there's a big hole in the way, a trap door, if you will. I exploit the AI weakness. Like I understand that these poor villagers only can comprehend in limited dimensions that I can perceive that, but they cannot. So I've devised a trap that they cannot see, and all their children fall in. Ha 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 ha. But it's not for ill. It's not, and they don't like get hurt. No, I wouldn't do that. Come on, what are you talking about? No, here they await. They await the next. They come down this tunnel and they chill here until they grow up, and then they're here and they await their next. So, like these guys became summoners for the iron farm. So this is a design by Wattles. I tried using the design by Ray's Works, but I built this farm too high, so there wasn't a platform for it to spawn on, and I couldn't really figure one out that I really wanted and I knew would work. And then the villagers kept falling off and delinking from their bed and dying. So I said, you know what? Let me just do the nice and stable and rock solid Wattles design, which I did, and it was pretty easy. It was pretty easily done. I might even take this and lower it into the ground because, like, to increase the rates. The rates are okay, but I'm used to my old Bedrock world where I had like 4 villages on top of one. So that it was incredible rates. This is like okay, but it's also single player. I don't care. Like it's just me. So yeah, isn't the sky nice? I like the shader sky. So goodbye, au revoir, au revoir. Then let us proceed. Let us proceed. Good old Nethergate. Ah, moonrise, which is kind of weird on a Sunday morning. You're like, what? Feels a little weird, but this isn't really a Sunday. I mean, when you watch it, it may not be Sunday morning. So yeah, super nice. So here's the mob farm. Let me kill these guys real quick, so I can sleep. All right, there. That feels like a Sunday morning. And also, it stops those guys from spawning down there because they spawn and then they can take up the mob cap. If they're down there, they can't be up there to fall down here. So I have to, and they're too far away for me to kill. I can't kill them. So yeah, they'll burn if they're in the sun. But that spider, but the skeleton's smart. He's like under the tree. He's like, I know to avoid the sun. So it's not all fun and games. I have to wait till they despawn for this to run at full capacity. But check out the XP orbs, man. The rainbow XP orbs. That's so cool. I like the shader pack. The shader pack is by AstraLex. It's the AstraLex shader pack or shaders on Java. But it's not just the AstraLex shaders. It's also this stuff, right? Like look at that. It looks like it's got actual texture instead of just the flat texture from regular Minecraft. And that's from Domino Kr, a guy named Domino Kr, and that's called a PBR pack. So it's separate from the shader. The shader is one thing, and then you got to get the PBR pack to make it look all spiffy like that, and it looks really, really good. Like those books look good, that looks good, this wheel looks good. The fact that the corners are glowing, that's amazing. That's great. All those glowing effects don't come naturally to Minecraft. They have to be added, and that's what the PBR pack does, the PBR thing. So yeah, props to everyone who worked on this. It looks really, really good. I really enjoy this texture pack. And the water, I purposely configured it to be RTX-like, so I would feel more at home. I haven't built an elevator system yet, so it's like, you know, the old-fashioned way of getting down. Ah! And then underwater is pretty cool. I dig it, right? That looks nice. So yeah, I've been working on stuff. And it looks like, now you look at it now and it looks pretty simple and like, yeah, rah rah rah, but let me tell you, well, I don't want to, but I could tell you about the adventure it took to get those villagers in there. It was like the 4th, 5th attempt for me to get villagers up there, and by that point I had advanced to using rails and powered rails. No more of this villager AI's nonsense. I'm gonna like make powered rails. And put them exactly where I want. Yeah. So I've made a few other things like that. Oh yeah, this is probably new to you, this piston door. I don't know if that was here last week. But I like it because I twisted it to make the redstone on the outside. So that's nice. That way the inside's nice and clean. I mean, you kind of have like that, but that's okay. So yeah, the redstone's back there. It's cool. And then I finally went and found dripstone. It took me forever to find this stuff. So why didn't I use rails from the start? Hey, okay, by the way, hello, wise mystic balls. Greetings, good morning, wise mystic balls. Why didn't I use rails from the start? Because I had always used rails from the start. I'd played from Bedrock, and you would have to I'd have to build a box and deposit them, the villagers, into the box, and then punch the villagers to have them fall into the hole. I used to do it that way. I used to be harsh, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try these new fangled villager AI mechanics here on Java, because I'm migrating from Bedrock. And I'm like, I'm gonna use these new things where they just find their own way to their beds and stuff. They don't like connect to beds by themselves, or they'll be intelligently connected to their beds. No, not really. I built paths, but the paths were too long and complicated for them, so it didn't work. Or they would connect to a bed because I didn't properly seal it off from the village breeder. Like, it's just a bunch of nonsense. It took me hours and hours and hours. Like, something that should have been simple took me way too long because I tried to be like independent about it instead of just literally following the tutorial step by step. It would have been so much quicker. But oh well. Then I had to go wandering forever. I didn't even wander. You know what I did is I looked it up on the map. I'm like, there's a spot to go to. I can show you even if you want to. It's kind of cool. But it's a long run. I don't really want to. Anyways, it takes you on the other side of these mountains to find those dripstones. So there's like that mountain range right there. Pretty cool, right? Pretty imposing, pretty big. On the southwestern side of these mountains, there's dripstone caves. There's nothing around here, no dripstone caves. So I was running real low in lava. Like, it was absurd. So just to get to this point, it's been an ordeal. And then these shaders, right? Like, they're super nice, but like the level I can run them on my computer and the level I can run them while running OBS are two different levels. So I had to find. Yeah, I'm not new to Java. I used to play Java way back in the day, like back when it first started. So I kind of dismissed shaders off the bat, like, because I'm used to old school shaders just not even like being feasible. So I was on Bedrock for the longest time, and I don't know what made me switch over to Java. I don't know what caused it. I don't know why. I think I was dissatisfied with the world generation and the world that I'd made in Bedrock. I was like, it just looked terrible. Like, it didn't look very good. Nothing I could do could make it look better or run better. So yeah, thank you, man. This took me a long time because they don't come out of the box looking like this. I had to tweak them a lot. I had to learn about what all those things mean. They don't tell you, and not every shader pack has the same options. So at the beginning, I was running the Seus shaders, PTR or like PTT or whatever 2.1, which look amazing. It looks real. It looks like so good. But it takes 100% of my video card. So sure, I can do it, but if I try to do it while running OBS, doesn't work. Can't do it. So yeah, it looks good, but I can't share them with anyone. It looks good for me, but I can't share them. If the point is the joy of Minecraft is being able to share, not only to create, but to share what you've made. So yeah, I give props to the guys who made it, but I took a long time to set these up to make them look good. So thank you for affirming all my labor and their labor. Yeah. Man, where was I even going? Talking about the differences between Java and Bedrock. Yeah, this iron farm's like nice. And I'm already starting to eat up the iron. Already, I've got hopper ideas. But then that's the other thing I learned is that you can't have like my old Java world. I built everything on one island, and so it lagged super bad. One tiny island, not even a big island, way smaller than this. So it lagged like crazy. So I know to like spread things out if possible. But then that's the other thing. The minimum distance, simulation distance is 6. On Java, on Bedrock, it's 4. So it's easy to unload things from simulation chunks. It's easy. You just walk a little bit and it's out. But on Java, like, you can't do it. I can go up there on my mob farm chilling, and this iron farm is still loaded and producing iron. I can go in my base, chill in my base, and this iron farm is still loaded and chilling and producing. So I'm kind of like worried, like, where should I build my village trading hall? If I build it here, it's going to be a bunch of entities loaded. I did in the beginning, but I stopped because I didn't have Fortune 3. I just recently, after I made that mob farm, I just recently got a Fortune 3 pickaxe. So I don't have very many diamonds. Let me see, what do I got? I got 14. I got nothing. So, and I haven't gotten a deep mine yet. This is only Y level 16. Yeah, 16. I already went deep diving and I took the diamonds I needed in the beginning. Yeah, that's the problem though. I don't want, like, if I have too many farms loaded, then it's gonna lag out like it did on my old world. On my old world, I had lived on a tiny island and I built all the farms on it. And I can't get, even on my awesome computer, I can't get like any higher than like 50 frames per second because way too many things loaded at once in one tiny thing. So I have to build like the agriculture sector far away from the iron farm sector. Okay, yeah, so I found this deep cave. I've already been caving, and you can see I already took all the easy ores. Here, like, sure, there's ores like up in the roof, but I don't need iron anymore. And I've been down through these caves forever. Then I get lost. I do need lapis though. Hey, check it out. Ooh, I can use gold too. So that's the thing. I haven't dug any of that hard stuff out because I just took the easy stuff. But now that I've got Fortune 3, it's worth my time. And I need gold because I don't have any. Yeah, you know what though? Like here, I can. Well, I can't do it now. I'm in the caves. But I took. It's easy to export your Java world from Java into Bedrock. It's easy. Oh fuck. The scaffolding works different on Java than Bedrock. You can it's easy to port your world from one to the other. And so that's what I did. I just ported the Java world from Java to Bedrock, or my Bedrock world, I'm sorry. I ported my Java world to Bedrock. And then I loaded the world up in Bedrock, and it looked like crap. It looked terrible. It looked so bad. Sure, it ran smoothly, but it looked bad. And then I realized, I'm like, why does it look bad? Why does it look bad? And then I realized the world is empty. Like in Java, there's grass on almost every block. Every single block has grass. And then the shaders draw shadows on every single one of those grass. So the world just looks amazing. But Bedrock has to work with phones. It has to work on a phone. So it's never gonna look as good as Java, because it's always going to be limited to the processing power of phones. Whereas Java, you can dedicate as much processing power as you want, and it will eat more. That's what I realized last night. Like, Java will eat up any kind of computing power you throw at it. It's gone. It'll eat it up. But in Bedrock, it doesn't matter how powerful your computer is. The program is going to always be limited to run on phones. Even if you have great shaders and PBR packs on Java, even if it still lacks the little details that make the world amazing, so much better. Like, to me, world generation is better in Java than it is in. Oh yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't even know if it's the world generation, because I load the same world up, but it just feels different in Java than it does in Bedrock. And yeah, maybe it's more simple, but like, am I going for simple? I'm going for like awesome. I have an awesome computer. I should be going for as much as I can to get as much. Ooh, that's a. Ooh, I found. Ooh. What's in this one? Ooh. Okay, I'll take that. Ooh, string. I'll take the string. Ooh, a name tag. Those are hard to get. Yeah, Java offhand, like right now. But see, that's the thing, right? Like, I had to install. You have to install a buttload of mods. You have to install a buttload of mods in order to get this to work properly. Like, there's a mod called Lambda Dynamics, that you have to install. Otherwise, you don't have dynamic lighting. Like, even now, this stuff right here doesn't work. Like, isn't very glowy. It doesn't glow at all. It's supposed to glow, and it doesn't. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't think I can do anything about it. Yeah. Oh, hey. I've been here. But I didn't go down. So yeah, like I'm supposed to do a show. And not play Minecraft. I have this whole show, right? This is my show this morning. And in the show, I talk about stuff going on in the real world. I just went in a circle. But let me get to safety before I do that. Yeah, well, I'm doing the show right now. This is the show right now. You're in it, right? This is every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. I do a show like this. I stream a show live. You're in the show right now. And then I save them on YouTube. I have 4 years of doing this show. This isn't like a new thing, guy. I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, it's because I use the show, right? It's like fun to play Minecraft, but also what I'm doing is I need to like tell people about what's going on. When I first started this show, I played with my cousin, and I tried to get him into Minecraft, but he wasn't really into it. But I was also telling him about the Russian attack on our election in 2016. I was telling him this in 2018. I was trying to get him to understand that well, hey, thank you. Yeah, please do. I was trying to get him to understand that the Russians had attacked us and that Donald Trump was an enemy of the United States. But he didn't oh my god, that's cool. But he didn't understand. And an opposite of not understanding is that he tried to like sabotage me. He started to sabotage my show. And it sucked. So I just got angry at him and I like stopped talking to him. But yeah. So I use this channel to talk about the news, about what's going on, because it's really important that people understand like what's happening. We're in a global war against fascism, like just like World War II was. Like I don't know if it's worldwide yet, but it's getting there. Well, hey man, thank you. I think you would dig it. I've been doing it for 4 years. So like, but let me give you a time frame, right? Let me like give you a short little narrative here. Yeah, here, I'm gonna stay in my house. Actually, let me get a fishing pole. I still don't know where anything is. And then we can fish. I only got... Alright. This new system I gotta learn. This is ore. This is monster. Or animal. Yeah, but I'll get to the world stuff in a bit. As soon as I get done with this Minecraft, like cleaning out my inventory so I can fish. And then talk. Yeah. It's probably a bad spot to fish. I can't see. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So in the United States, you have to understand. Are you American? I mean, like, I don't understand your context, so I'm trying to figure out where I should start from. But basically, you have to understand. You have to go back to the beginning of the United States. The beginning of the United States, fundamentally, everyone says, well, what's the United States about? And fundamentally, On one level, it's about freedom and liberty. Like it was like the great idea that regular men. Oh, okay, great. Oh, so this is great for you. Okay, so the United States is based. Its ideals are that are based on freedom and liberty. That men are able to govern themselves. They don't require a sovereign to tell them what to do. They're able to conduct their own affairs. And they sought to create a nation that would do exactly that. To create a nation where men are not subject to a king, but instead govern their own affairs and are successful at it. Great idea, right? Not perfect. And the implementation of it was terrible, because the way they implemented it, the way they made it happen, was they did it pretty much by copying the methods of the people they were trying to overthrow, the kings they were trying to overthrow. They did it through slavery and genocide. The ideal part of the United States is liberty and justice. But because the men felt it was unjust that the king ruled over them. So they're like, well, we don't need the king. We're able to conduct our affairs ourselves. Okay. But the way they did it was through slavery and genocide. They're like, we're going to go kill these people over here, take their land, and then take these slaves to work the land. And then not give them anything at all. We're just going to take their shit. And they justified it whatever ways they could. But they did it by dehumanizing the other humans. That's fundamentally what happened. The material so ideally it was a great idea, but the material basis was fucked up, was wrong, and that has never been resolved. It is the original sin of the United States. So within the United States, there are at least two factions. You can broadly break it down to two factions. There's been a lot of enlightenment since, right? Because they stopped thinking about it was only just for men. They also included black men, technically, and then they said not just for people with land, but anyone, any free person could vote. Free man could vote. And then they figured out, well, eventually they're like, yeah, sure, we it should be any woman who could, women should be able to vote too. And so it was never perfect to begin with. It's always constantly evolving and getting better. As we understand better, we make a better idea and expand the freedoms and liberties to more and more and more people as we understand more and more. But that's only the ideal American. There's also the bad American, the white supremacist. So remember, the original sin of the United States is literally white supremacy. White supremacists took the land, killed the people, and enslaved other people because of white supremacy, as the expression of white supremacy. So that faction has never ever been defeated. Sure, the United States had a civil war. There was a civil war, and the United States defeated the Confederates militarily. It took the territory of the Confederates. However, so it occupied the territories of the Confederacy. However, the Confederacy was not killed, because they instituted a coup and they assassinated Lincoln. Now back in that time, the vice president generally, the vice president that Lincoln picked at that time was someone sympathetic to the South, because he wanted to get a bunch of votes to win. He wanted to make sure he won. So he just like how presidents today select a vice president that will shore them up with other people, like their weak flank. So too did Abraham Lincoln pick a vice president that would shore him up with the voters that he's weak with. He didn't think he'd get assassinated and this guy would take over. Well, he got assassinated. He was killed by the South, by the Confederates, and he took over. Andrew Johnson. And Andrew Johnson, of course, he was sympathetic to the South. So what he did was, as president, was he blocked all the reforms that Congress wanted to do that would have ended the power of the Confederacy. The Confederacy is two things, right? It's the material parts of what, it's the stuff that the Confederacy owns and the territory. It's the material, and it's the spiritual. It's the ideological. It's that intangible part that you can't grasp. You can't physically destroy it. You can't use the same means to get rid of it. You have to dismantle power structures that are not bound in material. I mean, I guess they are bound in it, but so you have to dismantle the power structures, and that was not done under President Johnson. In fact, Andrew Johnson thwarted the will of the Congress so that the Confederacy lived on. Maybe not in territory. It didn't have actual control of its it didn't have legal control of its territory, the Confederacy. It was technically the United States. However, the Confederates made sure that no Black Americans could take office or political power in the South, in their former territory. So in practice, they retained power over their former territories by excluding black free Americans. They just excluded them and then put them in a new kind of slavery, a new form of slavery, a new form of legal slavery. That's what mass incarceration is. The United States is the country with the hugest incarceration per capita, and it's because slavery is legalized in just a different way. It's just anyways. So in the United States, there are still people who are fighting for multiracial democracy. Of course, that's the dream. But there are also factions that are working to create white supremacy. And it's been hidden from it hasn't risen out. Am I a teacher? No. Not technically. not professionally. Okay. I went to school and I studied. And I've been thinking about this a lot. So this tension has been underground, underneath. If you're a Black American, you felt it your whole life. It's never gone away. But it's been largely hidden from white Americans for a long time, up until I think this point. Now the material conditions in the United States have eroded because we had a nice fat buffer for a while from World War II, but that's been eroded away by the capitalists, bit by bit, by the elites, bit by bit, so that the middle class has shrunk bit by bit. And as those material conditions shrink more and more, it's harder and harder to subsume the tension between the white supremacists and the people who want multiracial democracy. You can't do it anymore. You can't hide it anymore. So it's coming up to the surface. So if you look now in the Republican Party, the Republican Party has become the political vessel for the expression of white supremacy. And you can see it right now in all their platforms. And everything they do and say, they're obviously racists. They're obviously white supremacists in everything they do. Look at Ron DeSantis. He's banning the discussion of any of this history I'm talking about. Ron DeSantis does not, of Florida, he's the governor of Florida. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, the whole state of Florida, made it illegal to teach people about this history of the United States. This thing I'm telling you about right now would be illegal to do in Florida. I would be an enemy of the state in Florida. Under Ron DeSantis, under Republican rule, who are the expression of white supremacy. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Florida's bad. It's terrible. So Republicans, white supremacists, do not believe in democracy. They will pay lip service to it only as long as it takes to get power. Then they'll throw away democracy. Just like with free speech. They don't actually believe in free speech. They pay lip service to free speech only until they get power. Once they get power, they take away people's free speech and only keep their speech. Look at Elon Musk on Twitter. The first thing he did was let all the Nazis back on and kick off all the left-wing reporters. Chad Loader got kicked off, and he didn't. All Chad Loader did was report on what the Nazis were doing, and that made Elon Musk mad. Why? Because Elon Musk is a Nazi. He's a white supremacist from South Africa. He's a piece of shit. he wrecked Twitter because of his ego. Like, I want to think he's a mastermind, but he's too dumb to be a mastermind. He just has a fat ego that's easily bruised and manipulated. So anyways, Elon Musk is on team white supremacy, by the way. Fuck that guy. So we are like trying to so understand that there's this global, like, that the white supremacists in the United States are naturally allied with the fascists in other countries. That's why Donald Trump was friends with Bolsonaro. Gerald, you know who Bolsonaro is? He was the former president of Brazil. He was like a mini Trump. And then when he lost the election to Lula da Silva, he staged an insurrection to try to to storm Congress, just like Donald Trump did on January 6, 2021. Donald Trump also lost the election and tried to send a mob to overthrow the democracy in the United States. White supremacists and democracy do not get along. They do not like each other. White supremacists will try to destroy democracy. So the Republicans in the United States are naturally allied with the fascists in Russia, with Putin. They're naturally allied with each other. A bunch of Republicans went over to Moscow on the 4th of July. They were in Moscow on the 4th of July in 2018 because Donald Trump was president and Donald Trump was on team Putin. So remember, what was Donald Trump trying to do? Donald Trump, well, once he was trying to advance, he was trying to make money for himself, number one. That's all he cares about. But he was being used to advance white supremacy, and Putin wanted him to do something. Putin wanted Donald Trump to weaken NATO and to isolate Zelensky, because Vladimir Putin wants to take over Eastern Europe and as much as land as he wants, he can. And he didn't want to use the army because by using the army, it costs a lot of money and stuff. What is democracy? Democracy is a form of government whereby people choose their own government. They rule themselves. Democracy is rule by the many. At root, democracy means rule by the many. Whereas it's opposite of other forms of government, which are monarchy, which is ruled by one, oligarchy, ruled by the elite, few elite, kleptocracy, ruled by criminals, despotism, ruled by warlord. Democracy is a great thing. It's a fantastic thing. It's a modern thing. It was first created in Athens, as I understand it, it was first created in Athens like hundreds of years ago, like 600 BC, but it was only for men. Slaves couldn't, and they were slave. Their economy was master slave. So they had an even deeper contradiction built into them than the United States. I'm not saying they're the best, right? All these people had great ideas, but the material implementation of them was bad. And that's always what leads to their downfall. So democracy is ruled by the many. And white supremacists are opposed to that. White supremacists don't believe that everyone should have an equal voice and a vote and should have equal say in democracy. White supremacists naturally believe in hierarchy, that only the elite should have power. That's why fascists are like white supremacists. Fascists and white supremacists are basically the same thing. Fascists believe in rule of power. White supremacists believe in rule of power, not rule of the people, but rule of power. Does that make sense? I hope that. So Vladimir Putin made a deal with Donald Trump. Vladimir Putin said, Donald Trump, if I help you become president, which I will, I'll make you president, you have to do things for Russia. You have to take off the sanctions off Russia. You have to destroy NATO. You have to isolate Zelensky, Ukraine, and make me a lot of money and destroy the United States from within. And that's what Donald Trump did. He installed a bunch of lackeys once he was in office who were put there not because they were any good, but because they were lackeys. They would do whatever Donald Trump wanted him to do. They were loyal to Donald Trump. And then and that's what Donald Trump did, right? Oh, it's lagging. All right, let me see. Okay, hold on. Let me get out of here fishing. Let me see if that helps it. Is it getting better? Please don't lag. Okay, so the deal was Donald Trump. So the deal was Donald Trump would like. So what did Donald Trump do? He tried to extort Zelensky. He said, Zelensky, I'm not gonna like. The USA wants to give you these weapons so you can defend yourself from Russia. but Donald Trump said, I'm not going to give them to you unless you do something for me. And he said, I want you to say that you're going to open an investigation into Biden. Like, he didn't actually want this investigation to happen. He just wanted the announcement so he could play it up in the media. Oh, it's because I'm holding this torch, dude. That's why. Lambda dynamics. So the United States found out about it and impeached him for it, but the Republicans protected him from being removed from office. Then Donald Trump, yeah, and he tried to weaken NATO. Donald Trump, he criticized all the NATO partners and like threatened to withdraw from NATO. He withdrew from a nuclear treaty with Russia. He did all sorts of bad things. He gave Russia all our secrets. The CIA had a lot of their people get killed because he sold our secrets to like Mohammed bin Salman, to the Saudis. Like, and he made a secret deal with the Saudis to do stuff. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. He was a bad guy, dude. So, but the people rallied and they kicked him out of office, and they put in the Democrats and Biden. So Biden reconstituted NATO, and he was there when and he helped Zelensky when they got invaded. So because Ukraine is a democracy and fascists hate democracy. So Putin invaded Ukraine to destroy Ukrainian democracy. So like, it's our values to help Ukraine. It's our values to help other democracies defend themselves. So here's the point of the show where I start like moving around or talking about stuff. You see this? Russians are, by Olena Halushka. Russians are throwing away Ukrainian books from the Pirozovsky State University in Mariupol. Some are dumped right from the window. Russia is systematically destroying all things Ukraine in the occupied towns. Great Russian culture is erasing our identity. So Mariupol is occupied by the Russians right now. And what the Russians are doing is they're going around finding books written in Ukrainian and then destroying them and getting rid of them because the Russians want to destroy Ukrainian identity and culture. They want to erase Ukraine and say, no, you're just Russia. They're just like Nazis, dude. They're just like Nazis. They're just like Nazis. Is it still lagging for you, or is it like working out? I want to go fishing again. So yeah, we're in the middle of this big war of fascism versus multiracial democracy, and every day, every single person is involved in it because it's an information war. It's a war for your heart and mind. There are many people who are demoralized, who have given up on democracy. They give up on knowing truth. So they'll say things like, "Oh, both sides are the same. There's no difference. Why even bother voting?" Like, they'll say things like this because they've given up. Like, they've given up on the dream of multiracial democracy. And that's what Russia wants. Like, forever, ever, Russia has been trying to delegitimize the idea of the United States. Because remember, Russia is a kleptocracy. It's a fascist state. It's ruled by criminals. And it does not want other democracies existing, because other democracies show that humans can govern themselves and be prosperous and successful. The fact that Ukraine was a democracy on the border of Russia couldn't handle it, because the Russian people looked at Ukraine and said, "Look how much better they're doing, and they have democracy, they have freedom." And so Russia had to destroy Ukraine. So it's in our interest to defend Ukraine, in the interest of the United States. It's in the interest of all democracies to defend one another from the forces of authoritarianism. I don't know. Are you still here? Can I talk to you about anything else? He's like, I bailed, dude, once it started lagging. Alright, well, that's cool. How long have I been going? Almost an hour. Let me get some coffee. I don't want to go up there because it's loud with the monsters falling on my head, always. It never goes away. So let me go chill over here inside the house. Or I can chill right here. Yeah, okay. Let me get some coffee. Where's my coffee? Where's my mug? Don't tell me I poured it out and... No. Oh, dude, see? This coffee maker turns off and then the coffee in it turns cold. I hate that. I have to, like, warm it up again. In the microwave. Microwave coffee sucks. Well, it doesn't suck, but it's like, whatever. Oh, and then I have to move away from the microwave because, like, it's going to mess with the Wi-Fi. And then you're not going to be able to hear me. Like, can you even hear me now? What else do I got here going on? Yeah, Russia's... so, okay. So it happened again, right? I went outside to check the mail, and there was my neighbor. And then the neighbor's dog was like, "Rah, rah, rah, come talk to me." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I went and talked to the neighbor's dog, and then the neighbor started talking to me. What did the neighbor say? He said all the Russian talking points. Again. This guy has got to be in his 60s, I think. 50s or 60s. And he started repeating to me all the Russian talking points. Again. Telling me that that Russia's invasion was the fault of NATO. It was the fault of the United States. It was the weapons guys. It was the weapons manufacturers who want to do it. That Biden is corrupt in helping Ukraine, that Ukraine's filled with Nazis, that Ukraine was the one trying to destabilize Russia, like all these things. That my neighbor said this to me, and like I was like, no, not again. Haven't you learned anything? Like, how many times do I have to repeat this? Like, Like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, but all of these things that he was saying were the things that Russia says. Like, why are you repeating the things that Russia says when they're obviously false? Here, I have a better map. I have a better one. Let me do what, like, new tab, new file explorer. There we go. Search in my beautiful. I moved my thing onto my drive here so it would be faster. I can search like instantly, whereas before when I put it on my hard drive, it was taking way too long to search. Show images. Okay, NATO. Look. Look. Here's the original members of NATO. Think about why was NATO created? Why did we make NATO? NATO was created to protect Europe from USSR, from Russia, from imperialistic Russia. That's why NATO was created. That's the whole point. So the last time members were added eastward towards like Poland was added in like 1999. Right? Poland was added in 1999, and then like the last time it went eastward was the Baltics. And this, I don't know these. That's the last time it went eastward. That was 2004. So if Russia wants to complain about 2004, that's a bit long. That's a bit long time to wait. And why were these states? Why did they join? Because they were afraid Russia would invade them. That's why they joined NATO. Why did they join? Because they were afraid Russia would invade them. Why did Poland join NATO? Because they had already been invaded by Russia, and they did not want to be invaded again. They had already been invaded, and they did not want to be invaded again. That's why they joined NATO. Not because they want to attack Russia, but because they did not want to be invaded by Russia again. So this guy I was talking that told me that tried to excuse the Russian invasion of Ukraine by saying they had no choice because of this expansion to NATO in 2014. Or not 2014, in 2004. That doesn't hold up. That holds no water. You're mad because the people are allied so that you wouldn't invade against them. So you invade against the one state that isn't in NATO. Kind of telling, isn't it? What else do I got? Here's NATO strategic nuclear base. UK and France, basically way back here. Way back here, but you can't touch them. Alright, and over here are the air bases in Deutschland, Italy. What is that? I don't know if that is. But way back in the OG places, and then one in Turkey, down south. Look at how many Russian shits are on the border. Like, poor Ukraine, dude. Look at that distance. Look how far that is. Poor Ukraine, dude. They even got one right here, right in the middle of everything. Like, Poland's like, what's up, guy? So it's not that NATO is forward deployed against Russia. Russia is forward deployed against NATO. I mean, look at it. Look where the true placements used to be. So Russia massed 28,000 troops in Crimea right before they invaded the rest of Ukraine. Like, NATO's nowhere near you, dude. Look at, nowhere near you. There's no NATO near you. Why is Russia invading? Russia is not invading Ukraine because it's afraid of NATO. Russia is invading Ukraine because they're imperialists. They're imperialism. They're just destroying Ukraine. They don't feel Ukraine should exist. That's why they're invading it. They're not afraid of NATO. NATO didn't make them do it. NATO didn't force Russia to invade. NATO didn't threaten Russia. That's all Russian talking points meant to excuse the fact that Russia is a genocidal imperialistic nation. And they teamed up with Donald Trump to do the same fucking thing here in the United States. Hi, hey, what's up? All right, that's NATO. Let's get back to this. So after Donald Trump had lost the election and stuff, he was now gearing up. After Donald, we're jumping back to 2000 or 2020, we're jumping back to 2020. 2020, Donald Trump knew he had lost the election. He knew he lost the election, so he started making up lies to delegitimize the election in the eyes of his followers, to get them riled up to attack the Capitol on January 6th. So he started telling a bunch of lies, and one of the lies he said was that the Dominion was a bad company, that they were cheating, that Dominion was flipping votes for the Democrats. That's one of the lies that Donald Trump said. Well, Donald Trump says a lot of lies, but usually he says lies about little people who aren't able to fight back. Well, Dominion's a big fat company, and their reputation's on at stake now, because the president of the United States just called them a fraudulent company. So they sued Donald Trump for defamation, and so Donald Trump has to prove his statements with internal memos. There's something called discovery, where everyone puts everything on the table so you can sort through it and figure shit out, what's going on. And that's called discovery. And in discovery, during this court process called discovery, they were going through the emails and the communications of the Fox News hosts, the people on Fox News, the talking heads on Fox News. They repeated the lies of Donald Trump. That's why so many people believed the fraud lie, was because Fox News repeated Donald Trump's lies and helped build up the crowd that would attack the Capitol on January 6th. It's all tied together. But during discovery, we found out that they knew that it was a lie. That the newscasters on Fox News who repeated the fraudulent lies of Donald Trump, they knew that it was a bunch of bullshit, but they repeated it anyways. In the days and weeks after the 2020, let me give credit here. This is a story by David Folkenflik on NPR, February 16th. Off the air, Fox News stars blasted the election frauds claims they peddled. So on the air, they said lie, fraud, lie, but off the air, they said this is bullshit. This is so dumb. But they did it on the air. In the days and weeks after the 2020 elections, the Fox News channel repeatedly broadcast false claims that then President Donald Trump had been cheated to victory. Off the air, the news stars, producers, and executives expressed contempt for those same conspiracies, calling them mind-blowingly nuts, totally off the rails, and complete BS, often in far earthier terms. The network's top primetime stars, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity, texted contemptuously of the claims in group chats, but also denounced colleagues, pointing out that publicly or on television. So, in other words, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Laurel Ingraham, they were texting like, "Oh, this is a bunch of bullshit." That this is in their group text. This is such lame. This is so bad. This is such lies. These are the total fabrications. It's so terrible in their group chats to each other, right? But then on air, they would be like, "No, these fraud claims are totally true. I really mean it. Really, these fraud claims are really real. President Trump really is really real. Wink, 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 wink." But then off the air and in text, they're like, "Nah, these are so dumb. Those people are so stupid for listening to this." But then other people would on the show on Fox News, they would say, "Yeah, those claims by Donald Trump, they're not real. They're not real." Sean Hannity would get angry. "What are you fucking doing, dude? What are you doing? You're messing up my thing. I'm doing a thing and you're messing it up by calling it bullshit. Stop." That's what's happening. Ingraham called Trump campaign attorney Sidney Powell a bit nuts. Carlson, who famously demanded evidence from Powell on the air, privately used a vulgar epithet for women to describe her. A top network programming executive wrote privately that he did not believe the shows of Carlson, Hannity, and Jeanine Pirro were credible sources of news. Because they're not. They're a bunch of bullshit. They're propaganda. They're literally fascist propaganda. Even so, top executives strategized about how to make it up to their viewers. Among Trump's strongest supporters, after Fox News election night team correctly called the pivotal state of Arizona for Democratic nominee Joe Biden before other networks. That changed everything. When Fox News called Arizona for the Democrats, Donald Trump was planning on claiming Arizona. It was uncontested. No other network had called Arizona for the Democrats. So Donald Trump was going to use the unclaimed status of Arizona to claim it for himself and to make stronger his case to overturn the election. Because he tried later at midnight when he talked about how he was angry that Fox News had called it for the Democrats because he was going to use Arizona to hold on to power. Someone at Fox News took that away from him. I don't know, man. I don't know. But then the network was like, "Well, we got to make it up to our viewers that we called Arizona for the Democrats. We got to make it up to them. So in other words, we're gonna amplify Trump's fraud claim, even though we all know it's bullshit. We're gonna amplify it." This all came out in Discovery. Fox News host Neil Cavuto was attacked by colleagues for pulling his show away from a presentation by then White House spokeswoman Kalea McEnany, in which she made unfounded claims of fraud once more. McEnany is now a host on Fox News. So she lied. She spread the lie on Fox as Donald Trump's press secretary, spokesperson, and then after she spread the lie for Donald Trump, she was made a host on Fox News because they're a fascist network. They only care about fascism. So those revelations and far more surfaced in legal filings made public late Thursday afternoon as part of Dominion Voting Systems' blockbuster $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit against Fox and its parent company. Dominion sued after Fox hosts and guests repeatedly claimed, without evidence, that the company had switched Trump votes to Biden. So all this is starting to come out. That the Fox knew that the claims were bullshit, but they amplified it anyways. And because Fox News amplified the bullshit claims of Donald Trump, they got more Americans to show up on January 6th to try to overthrow democracy. It's all tied together. White supremacists can't abide by democracy. That's why there's been a multi-generational struggle in the United States against white supremacists. I mean, they've already rigged the voting in a lot of states by gerrymandering and by vote suppression, by putting arbitrary rules. Like, there used to, under Jim Crow, there used to be a literacy test that people had to take before they could vote. But the test was a bad test. It was worded in such a way that whether or not you passed or failed, well, you were always going to fail, because it was too hard to do within 10 minutes. So you were always going to fail. But if you were a white person, the person would let you go by. And if you were a black person, the person would say, no, you can't vote. So that kind of thing is still in practice today. They find all sorts of reasons to keep you from voting. Like voter ID is one of them. You have to have the right kind of ID, and you have to be the right color. and like there's a guy in Alabama, a politician, he voted to enact voter ID in Alabama. Then he went to vote, and the guy said, no, you don't have a voter ID, you don't have the proper voting ID of the law that you passed, you can't vote. The guy called the police on the polling guy to get him to let him to vote, even though he was breaking the law. Because the law means nothing to them, to fascists, to white supremacists. All they care about is power. The law was never meant to stop white people from voting. It was meant to stop black people from voting. That's why when that poll worker tried to stop that guy from voting, that politician from voting, because he didn't have the right ID, the politician called the police to use power to override it. Because it was never intended to stop white people, only black people. You would think that after seeing all the ways in which white supremacists try to stop people from voting, that other people would do everything they could to make sure they could vote. But I met a lot of people who just give up on voting. They just are demoralized and they won't even vote. All right, what else do I got here? What's this? Warren Burger, 1990. The gun lobby interpretation of the Second Amendment is one of the greatest pieces of fraud. I repeat the word, fraud, on the American people by special interest groups that I've ever seen in my lifetime. The real purpose of the Second Amendment was to ensure that state armies, the militia, would be maintained for the defense of the state against the federal government. The very language of the Second Amendment refutes any argument that it was intended to guarantee every citizen an unfettered right to any kind of weapon he or she desires. Warren Burger, 1990, Conservative Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Didn't we, like, just the other day, didn't 9 more kids get murdered in a mass shooting? Like, there's one group of people that wants to maintain this agreement of blood sacrifice to touch guns. And it's generally white supremacists. Every leftist gun owner I know is okay with common sense gun controls that would be uniform across all states. But every right-wing gun owner is opposed to gun control, any kind of gun control, any kind whatsoever. They just reflexively opposed to it. So since they're reflexively opposed to it, they can be manipulated with using that reflex. And they are. It works. It works both ways. It's not just against right-wingers. This reflexive control works both ways. The same way you can manipulate right-wingers by through their reflexive control or the reflexive behavior to gun control, you can control leftists by associating the reflexive distrust of centrist politicians like Biden. For example, I noticed early on, right when when Russia invaded Ukraine, I noticed early on a lot of my leftist friends were very critical of Biden and any assistance Biden would provide for Ukraine, and that was a strong desire, reflexive desire, to blame the United States for whatever was going on in Ukraine. It's not that they were dumb. It's not that they were stupid. It's that they have these natural tendencies not to trust Biden, not to trust the conservative institutions, and not to trust foreign intervention, U.S. intervention. They have a natural tendency not to trust it. So there were Russian forces who understood this and created a false narrative, created the air that the United States was unjustly intervening all over the world, and that the United States was at fault for this, and that the United States shouldn't intervene. And I had to like strenuously debunk a lot of stuff from my leftist friends who were smart, dude. They're not dumb. They're not dumb. They're smart, but they were naturally inclined to react a certain way. And if you can exploit that natural reflexive conditioning, you can exploit that. And that's what happened. And I had to talk down my leftist friends from inadvertently helping Russia by criticizing any aid to Ukraine. I had to talk them down from it. And now they understand it and they're cool. But it works both sides. It's not just used against right-wingers. It's used against leftists too. You have to watch out. Like, who's that? Brianna Gray? She like feeds into it so easily. She like, because she's opposed. I don't know if she still is, but she was opposed to U.S. aid to Ukraine because she had that. It plays upon her natural tendency to distrust centrist politics, and Biden is a centrist politician. I mean, they want to say that Manchin's a centrist. No, dude, Manchin's a conservative. Cinema is like so conservative, she's an independent now. The water looks gray. Guts. Your guts have a profound impact on your well-being. The microbes, not your guts, but the creatures living inside your intestinal tract. So this is a study. There was a study done. Finding, like very, very recently, right? Or like in 2020, finding intestinal fortitude, integrating the microbiome in a holistic view of depression mechanism, treatment, and resilience, by MC Flux and Christopher A. Laurie. Oh no, that's the wrong one. This one. Highlights. The gut microbiome affects depression, bidirectional communication with immune, endocrine, and central nervous systems. The gut microbiome can alter the balance of local and circulating inflammatory markers and the activity of immune cells. The gut microbiome can affect the output of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. The gut microbiome influences the brain through altering tryptophan metabolism and producing other neuroactive molecules. Each of these three systems can affect the balance of microbiota in the gut and play a role in intestinal permeability. So in other words, what goes on in your gut affects how your brain, how you're feeling. You can get depressed because your gut biomes are out of whack. If you do something that causes your gut biomes to not be happy, they will inflame your intestines, which and then when your intestines are inflamed, that causes problems with your kidneys, with your immune system, and it makes you feel bad, so you're depressed. So if you can treat the inflammation, you can reduce depression. Like there was a thinking that oh, it's dark and dangerous here. What am I doing? So there was a thinking that like fibromyalgia was like an inflammation, or depression was an inflammation process, not like a brain process, but like a gut biome process that of inflammation in the gut. So if you treat the inflammation, you can treat the depression. Cool, man. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, check this out. In 2018, oh shit. In 2018, Trump rolls back train-breaking rule meant to keep oil tankers from exploding near communities. An Obama rule to require new brakes to reduce the risk of oil train derailments, causing explosions and spilling gas, was reversed by Trump. Like, but it's not all Trump, right? Biden has not reinstated those regulations. Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, did not reinstitute those rules. Why not? Why hasn't he done that? That would be a great for my coffee. That would be a great thing. That would be a great thing. That would help out safety. But this train derailment wasn't a cause from brakes. It was a cause from the axle overheating and melting and then falling off and blowing up. But we have other things called hot boxes, which are cameras that are watching the train as they go by, and they detect when there's extreme heat coming from the axles. But the hot boxes were broken. If the hot boxes weren't broken, they would have saw that the axle was overheating and stopped the train. Okay. Look how different the world used to be. Can you see? Yeah. This is the year Jimmy Carter won the presidency. I think 1976. Yeah, he won the South. And DC. He didn't win Virginia. He lost California. Carter lost California. So the world is very, very, very different from what it was in 1976. The world has changed. Jimmy Carter, he's on his deathbed now. He's on his way out. He's a good man. He deserves his rest. He lived a good life, and he was exemplary. I think he was like a great president, even though he only served 4 years. Maybe his presidency wasn't great, but his life that he lived was great. The life that he lived was great, and the United States is better for having Jimmy Carter. Okay, reparations, yo. After reparations studies suggest 151 million for each African American, experts say money alone isn't enough. This is back in 2020. Like, it's probably even more now with inflation. This amount, divided by 40 million black non-Hispanic descendants of the enslaved, could result in a total reparations payment per descendant of $151 million. This figure on the number of descendants may be overstated, as it likely includes some black U.S. residents who do not trace their ancestry back to slavery, the researchers note. Another estimate, based upon wealth disparity, is around 14 trillion. Robert Johnson, the founder of Black Entertainment Television, suggested this sum, which would amount to around $350,000 each. $350,000 each for the estimated 400 million African Americans in the United States, giving them an amount signifying the wealth disparity between African Americans and white Americans. This amount echoes that of previous studies from the University of Connecticut researcher Thomas Kramer, who was involved in the aforementioned study published June 19th that suggested an amount of up to $14 trillion. $14 trillion reparations to pay for the amount and we haven't even talked about the Native Americans. How many treaties has the United States broken to take that land? Those treaties they're still there. They didn't go anywhere. It was an agreement. Just because you broke it, yeah, see, it starts coming to problems. But that's what's got to be done, right? If you're gonna deal with your original sin, it's not like 14 trillion is hard to get. Just tax the billionaires, dude. All right. So, I think that's it. I got this going pretty nice, I think. The United States must continue to defend Ukraine from Russian aggression. He's right behind me, isn't he? Stupid Enderman. Stupid. Ha ha ha. Give me that block back. Alright. We must continue to defend Ukraine from Russian aggression. We have to continue to believe in the dream of multiracial democracy and understand that all humans are capable of governing themselves. Transhumans are capable of governing themselves. They don't need the government to come and wreck their lives. And I think we can do it. I mean, we're fighting basically a global war against fascism for the dwindling resources that and climate change is going to come along. So we got to figure something out. Like, I suggest doing a moonshot for the molten salt nuclear reactor, because that will take care of our existing molten waste, our nuclear waste. And it will destroy the oil markets so that the oil wars will end. Yay! Let's end the oil wars and develop molten salt nuclear reactors. Yay! We've already done it. We can just finish it. Let's finish it. Finish the job. We can do it. We might have to just defeat our white supremacy movement here in the United States first. But we can do that too. We can do these things simultaneously. Through the power of love. Okay, America. Until next time. Pogo Kiddo out. Peace. Stop.